feel like I want to remember what happened today and record it before I forget. I don't want to forget what happened today. And so I'm going to do my best to just remember how today unfolded. And I'll get to Acts 2:42. I took notes and all that, so I feel like I'll be able to retain that better. But today, I just really want to remember how today went. So I woke up this morning, staying at my cousin's place, realized that I was only 6 minutes away from the event, the arena. And so time blindness is a real thing. Knowing that I was 6 minutes away, I was like, oh, I'm chilling. What was I even doing this morning? Couldn't tell you. Wait, no, seriously, what was I doing? I think I was probably on Instagram. Or sleeping, because I did go to bed late as well. It's okay. I'm forgiven. So I'm taking my time, and then I start to get ready. And I'm texting just the different people that I know, and some of them are there as early as 7 a.m. And then other people I know got there around 8:45, 9. And even still, I'm just like, oh, I got plenty of time. I'm only 6 minutes away. I got plenty of time. What I'm failing to consider is that this place sits 4,000. Acts 2:42 had 7,000 people there. And 2819 Church is only having one service today. And all of us are trying to be in this one spot. I'm not considering that. What I was thinking was, oh, I can just take a lift there and I don't have to worry about parking. My only concern was parking. I was thinking about parking. I wasn't thinking about capacity. See, I'm already losing light, but that's okay. I was only considering parking and not capacity of the space. And so I call my Lyft. I'm feeling good. Like, oh yeah, my Lyft is going to get me there. I'm going to walk right in. Mind you, I'm also from a small city where things are rarely at capacity. Rarely do I ever have to worry or consider things being at full capacity. So that's another thing. That's another reason why I'm not considering that. I was only considering parking, not capacity, and it being full to capacity. It's okay. So my Lyft driver and I start to realize, oh, I might be in trouble when my Lyft driver is telling me about there being traffic, and then he didn't realize I was going to the place where he was seeing the traffic. And then he was very sweet, but he was also just a very cautious, timid driver. And as we were trying to get into the arena, everyone was trying to get in, and people were doing illegal things, and they were cutting people off. And it was just, you had to be very assertive. You had to be an aggressive driver to get in. And I was just like, like just really seeing the long lines, seeing how slow they were moving. We were trying to pull into a turning lane, and I rolled my window down because the driver was asking me what I wanted to do. And in my mind, I'm like, you're the driver. Why are you asking me? Like, we just got to get there. So I pulled down my window to see if I could ask the sweet lady if we could get in front of her. And she was like, I'm so sorry, we've been waiting here an hour. That was when I knew, oh, okay, this is serious. Like, this, I didn't think about this. I didn't consider this. So we were able to turn into the arena. However, the way the flow of traffic was going, we would have had to, and like, it's like standstill traffic. Like, the cars are barely moving. If they're moving, it's like 1 millimeter an hour or whatever. And I was like, wow, I might be in a bad spot. I might be in a bad position. But I was also thinking too, again, because I wasn't, even then, I wasn't considering capacity. I was like, oh, the people that I know, they're going to save me a seat. They said they were going to save me a seat. Again, not thinking about, yeah, anyway, I said that enough. You get it, I hope. But I end up just exiting the lift where I was able to cut straight across and walk to where the lines were. And I wasn't supposed to do that. The lady had actually said, because I saw the people in the car in front of me do that, and the lady was like, oh, you can't, but they did it anyway. And I was like, well, I'm about to do it too. So I just left the lift, and the driver, he was so sweet, you know, and I tipped him. I did. And I anyway, getting distracted. I did tip him because he was very sweet and he helped me out. So yeah, so now I'm out of the car, praise God, and church still hasn't started yet, but I now have to figure out where I'm going. Keep in mind, I'm here by myself. I came here by myself. So thankfully I'm okay doing things by myself, but there's just so much to think about. There's so much to consider. Where I don't know where I'm going. This is not my church. This is not what I'm used to. I don't know what the instructions were. Like, there's a lot to just be thinking about. And I was wearing heels, so that's just another thing too to be thinking about. Like, but my heels were comfortable, so it was okay. But so I'm walking and I'm just like, you know what? I just gotta go. I'm gonna just follow this traffic and go. So I'm stopping and I'm asking people with the red shirts, you know, where am I supposed to be going? There was a special line for people who attended the Acts 242 conference. And so I got in that line. I ended up meeting up with this random girl who also had gone to the Acts 242 conference. And that's really what you have to do when you go places alone. Just find people, somebody, anybody that you have a commonality with. And it's so much easier to stick together and to feel like you're not alone when you find someone else who has a mutual interest of yours or mutual commonality with you. That's my tip for whoever is afraid to do things alone. You're gonna find somebody that you have some sort of commonality with. Cling to those people and you'll be okay. So I meet this girl, I don't remember her name, but we end up getting into the line. We're standing in the line and we're thinking we're good now. Oh, we're in the special line. We're in the Acts 242 line. Oh, we're safe. So we're talking, we're asking each other questions about the conference. What were our takeaways? What has the Lord been impressing upon us? Making our small talk, feeling all good, until this man comes out, or people start to turn around from the front of the line, and they're saying they're not letting anybody else in. They're at capacity. They're not letting anybody else in. They're at capacity. And I was like, wow. At this point, I had said in an earlier video that my brother was there, and I realized that he was there, and I saw him and my sister-in-law. So this happened after I realized that they were there, but my heart sank.
In half a mile, continue straight onto County Line Road.
Okay, thank you. My heart sank because it never crossed my mind. I never considered that I would not be able to go, that I would not be able to make it in. Oh, mercy. Hold on.
Continue straight onto County Line Road.
I need to say that again. I never considered that I would not be able to make it in. Lord, help me to remember that.
Continue on County Line Road for 2 miles.
You can just be going about life, living your life, thinking you're safe. Thinking you're safe. Mercy, God. Jesus. Thinking you're safe. And then I hear, yeah, they're not letting anyone else in. They're at capacity. And so I at this point, I don't even know what to do. Me and the girls that I was talking to, like, we go our own different ways. I don't know what happened to them, but I end up catching up with my brother and his wife, my sister. And we're just kind of just like, so me and my brother, we're just talking. We're just catching up. We're just talking. My sister-in-law, so they drove up here. Backstory. my brother and sister-in-law drove up 4 hours just to come to this church. They drove up 4+ hours. They rented a car and drove up 4+ hours just to come to this church. So I was feeling distraught, but at the same time okay, because I was still so full from everything I had received from the Acts 2:42 conference. So in my heart, I was like, you know what? If it's not meant to be, it's okay, because I got more than enough word this weekend. So I was distraught, but okay. But I did feel for them, knowing that they came here 4+ hours. They rented a car and drove, got a hotel room last night, came here 4+ hours just to have to turn around and drive back without going to church. Yeah. So the thing about me and my brother, we're chill. We're pretty chill people. My sister, she is a go-getter. She's very assertive, and she is not just gonna take no just because you say no. She's from Miami. And so I don't know what she started doing. She just started walking around talking to people. I have no idea what she was doing. Meanwhile, me and my brother were talking. We're meeting this guy from London. Shout out to homeboy from London. And we're kind of just accepting the fact that it's not going to happen. They're at capacity. They're turning people away. But we end up staying there for probably another 30 to 40 minutes. I don't know.
At the light, turn right onto US 84 West.
I don't know how long it is, but it's for a good amount of time that we're just standing there. We're just standing there. We're not leaving. We're not going to the car. We're just standing there. Why? I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I could not tell you. But one thing I do know is we have finally gotten to the point where my sister-in-law, she was really not just going to accept just getting in the car and leaving. So her suggestion was there was a group of people over there that were worshiping, and that we just join them and at least just worship together with the people who are outside. And so, you know, I was like, yeah, we could do that. But before we did, we hear them say they're able to let 100 people in, standing room only. And so there was like a group, a little remnant, if you will, of the previous line. There was a group of us, and yeah, we were kind of just standing around. So when they said that, when I tell you we rushed to that line, but the problem was, I guess people started to hear that they were letting more people in, and they did not, the security officers, they did not plan it well or whatever. They didn't organize us well. So it's just a mob of us all trying to get into through these little lines. And the security officers are telling us to form a single file line, but we're already in a mob. So in a mob, who's going to be in front of you in the mob? Nobody wants to let somebody else in front of you in the mob where they're only letting 100 people in. And then more people are starting to come from cars, and they're starting to come from wherever they're coming from. Maybe they didn't even know, they weren't even here before, but now they're just now coming, and now they're trying to get in too. And it's just like a whole group of us trying to get in, and the security officer is like, stop pushing, and then she just stops us completely. And so we're trying to get into these single file lines. I just want you to imagine a group of sardines tightly packed together. There's no space to even like straighten out. And she's saying she's not going to let any more people in until we get in a single file line. But if you're in this mob, and let's say you were here, like you never left, you were here from the previous line, and then this person comes up. Okay, let me drive. Hold on, pause. So you were already here in the previous line that you've been waiting for an hour at this point, and then this person just got dropped off from their car. Now they're coming up and they're right next to you, and they're saying join to make a single file line, and that person actually ends up in front of you. Like stuff like that was happening, and it was just getting crazy. And so we were probably standing in line for about, I don't know, 30 minutes. And then like she stops letting people in. So she had let 50 people in. Half of the people who were able to go, she had let in. But then she I don't know, like, I really couldn't tell you. It was really frustrating, actually, because we were so close to the front of the line. There was no structure. The security officer, the supervisor lady, was not, like, making a decision. She was, like, basically, work it out amongst yourself, but also don't push anybody. I'm not going to organize you, but y'all need to work it out, and also don't push anybody. Like, it was just like, ma'am, lady. It was a lot. And there were people who were just like, this is too much, and they just left. And there's people like me who, listen, I'm a lover, not a fighter. It's not that deep. I was here for Acts 2:42. Like, I want to be in here, but I'm not gonna push anybody or anything like that. And then there's people like my sister-in-law. Praise God for the assertive people. Somehow, some way, she made her way up to pretty much the front of the line. And then I was thinking she was just gonna fend for herself, because again, I'm not pushing anybody, like, out the way, like, please, that's not me. But then she turns around, she's like, hey, like, come. And she just says it so matter-of-factly, just so calmly, like, you know, like, duh, like, obviously, like, yes, like, you're gonna come. And I love people that can do that. I'm not like that. I'm so like, oh my gosh, please, like, don't be mad. She's just like, come, like, obviously you're gonna come and stand here and come with me at the front of this line. So I make my way. I take on some of her matter-of-factness, and I just, excuse me, and I make my way. And so, again, we're still kind of just waiting. I don't know what's going on, but eventually they say, okay, we're going to let 50 more people in. So they had told us to form 2 single file lines. And so by the time they finally start letting us in and letting the remaining 50 people in, they block the beginning of our single file line. They close it off, and they start counting and letting people in from the other single file line. And I was like, wait a minute, y'all told us to form 2 single file lines, but you're only letting in this line? And my heart, it started beating. I'm like, no way, that's not fair, that's not okay, that's not right. I need to get in. I'm so close, I'm too close. I could touch the front of the line. Like, absolutely not. Like, no way. Because again, there was no structure, there was no order. So they could have done that if they wanted to. They really could have just taken the other 50 people from that line. But somebody in front of me had heard that the security officer lady said she's gonna come for us. She's gonna come back for us. Oh, hold on, that's a word. And so I didn't trust that, because the lady, she just seemed, I don't know what was going on internally, but I was doubting that I was gonna make it in, and my heart sank again. But what she did was she let 25 people in from the first line, and then she came over to our line. She removed the blockade or whatever, and then she let in 25 people from our line. And we were probably like 6th or 7th in line, so we made it in, of course. Sadly, my brother, he's not, I don't want to say a fighter, because we didn't fight, but he's gonna let you have it. And so he was like, yeah, like, I'll head to the car. So unfortunately, he did not make it in. But one thing that did stand out to me, and it convicted me so hard, you really share a lot with people who go through like similar struggles as you, and you can just become close to them. And yeah, so while we were in line, this girl that I met, we just connected on the sheer fact that, like, we're trying to get into this, we were hoping that we would get into the church. And that's the only thing. Oh, and we had been to the conference together. Those were the only 2 things we knew about each other. We had been to the Acts 2:42 conference, and we were trying to make it in to church, to 2819. And so we just connected off that. And as we were standing in line, we were just hopeful that we would make it in. And she started to pray. She started to pray while everyone around me was feeling frustrated, including me, getting worked up, coming for the security officer, being mad. She started to pray. Oh, we held hands and we prayed. I have no idea if she made it in. I hope that she did, but that just really encouraged me. It really encouraged me in situations like that, in any situation that's frustrating or I feel like it's hopeless, I don't know what to do and it feels out of my control. Pray. And that was like, I needed to see that. That really encouraged me. Excuse me. So yes, I was so joyful when we walked into that church and we made it in. So just to recap, they closed the doors. They stopped letting people in. They said that they were full, that they were at capacity. People were turning around. They got back in their cars. They left. After waiting in line, after the traffic that was moving millimeter by millimeter, all of these people were here. It was a line. It was so long. It was such a long, there were so many people that were turned away. There were so many people that were turned away. But we stayed there and we waited and we were hopeful. We didn't leave. We stayed next to the church. And it turned out that they were able to allow 100 people to come into the church. And I was one of those that was able to go into the church. And I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful. And I'm so glad. And I just thank the Lord that He allowed me to be there. Not just because I wanted to be a part of, the action, but because I needed to hear that message. I needed to be encouraged and equipped and remember what my charge is to tell people about Jesus. And the prayer that was prayed, I was able to go down to the altar. I'm working my way. Excuse me. I need to get close to this altar. I need to receive this prayer. I need to be prayed over. And I prayed down there like I've never prayed before. And I'm interceding. And I'm filled with the Holy Spirit. And I see my sister. I go back up. I see my sister. There's tears running down her face. We were able to worship together. We stayed there. We worshiped. And we were filled. And we were able to share this with my brother when we left. My brother met us. We walked back to the car. I was able to tell the truth to both my brother and sister. And just tell them how, yes, this was powerful. Yes, this was a great experience. But none of this matters if our life doesn't reflect this change. This was just entertainment. This was just, we get to say we were here. But none of this actually matters if our lives are not changed as a result of it. So, my brother and sister drove me back to where my car was, and I asked if I could pray for them, and I prayed for them. And then I got in my car. Here I am now. But that was what happened today. That was the story of today. Oh, I had called, like, once they said that they were at capacity, I was like, oh, I'm still good. I'm just circling back just because I don't want to forget any detail. I'm calling the people that I knew that were already in there, and I was like, hey, did y'all save me a seat? Because, they said that they were going to save me a seat. They were like, no, they won't let us save seats. They took the seat. There's no more seats. Oh, this is such a metaphor for salvation, for heaven. Like, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. If you know, you know. But, wow. time, the thinking, all right, okay, that was it.